Good morning, Mr. Garrett. Sir, you're charged with terroristic threat of a family or a household member. That allegation kicks it up to a Class A misdemeanor, so you are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On February 25th, 2025, the officers were dispatched to a residence in Harris County, Texas for a disturbance with an unknown weapon at approximately 5:49 p.m. And upon arrival, the officers met with a complainant who stated she is the mother of the defendant and they live together. The complainant stated that day her healthcare provider came to her residence to help her as she is disabled. And the complainant stated the defendant was in his room playing loud music, and the complainant asked the defendant to turn it down while her provider was there. The defendant did turn it down, and as soon as her provider left, he turned the music back up. The complainant requested the defendant turn the music down again, and a verbal altercation ensued over the music and money, and the defendant started to rip up family photos. The complainant tried to stop the defendant, but the defendant grabbed the complainant by her arms and pinned her against the wall. The complainant stated she did not feel pain, but that the defendant said to the complainant that if she continued to touch him, that the defendant would break the complainant's jaw. The defendant was on the scene and refused to speak to officers.
Okay. Mr. Garrett, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. Do we know what mom wants?
See if a rip was attempted, Your Honor, and unsuccessful.
All right, we have a call scheduled later this afternoon. She won't be available until afternoon.
This is a problem. I normally order in these types of cases that you're not to go back to this place. So if you don't have anywhere else to go to, what happens? You have to be careful in these situations, Mr. Garrett. So let's do this. How old are you, sir? I'm going to give you a lawyer today. I want you to talk to the lawyer so we can figure something out. I don't want to put you out on the street, but I got to protect every person here. You understand? So I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're using anything, I will revoke your bond, put you in jail. Do you understand? You're not to be in possession of weapons as well. And you're not to have any threatening or harassing contact with mom. If I find that you do, likewise. You got out of jail because we gave you a free bond. What happens if we put it at 5 to 10,000? If you don't have anyone to bond you out, you'll be stuck like Chuck in there until this thing's over with. And it takes a long time just to get a 911 tape. You understand? So I'm going to have you sign a reset. Let me have you take a seat in the jury box. I'm going to find your lawyer and then we'll go to it. Come on. So the first thing I told Mr. Garrett is that he's not to use any illegal substances and that you're going to get tested. I want you to know now that I will test you 40 days to 45 days from today. If I find that you're using anything illegal, including THC, I will revoke your bond and put you in jail. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When I have these types of cases, I typically prevent the person here to have any contact with or to go back to the house where the complaining witness lives. Does he currently live there now?
He does it.
It's going to be a problem. So how, because what the last thing I want, Mr. Garrett, are more words to exchange and you end up with another case because there's now bad blood between you two. That's the last thing I want. So how do we prevent that from happening, Amy? What do we do?
Judge, I request that the court order no harmful injurious contact with the CW. Based on my reading of the case, it doesn't appear that a no contact order is required or warranted at this point, Judge.
From what I read, it could have been an assault that you could have been charged with in addition to this case here. What do you think? Say.
State would request we've got a call stated the complainant name. State would request some sort of cooling off periods. Right? There would be no contact order. Very dangerous cases. We usually have very cooling off periods since these aren't fresh charges.
Do we put him on the street though? Because essentially that's what's going to happen. He's 22, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We can also, also. Noon.
Yeah.
If they were going to the court, I know it's be later today till noon.
Judge, she's at the hospital. I don't know if she let y'all know that that's where she was.
No.
She's at the hospital right now, so that's
Why?
I didn't ask.
How do you know that she's in the hospital? Figure out, I guess.
Let's reapproach.
So
It is up now.
are you done? Do you have anything else to do?
The reason I came back.
So, for now, let's do this. I'm gonna allow him to go back. You guys get a hold of her. If for some reason she says that she doesn't want him back, let me know. I'll get in contact with him and then I'm gonna modify the order so that he can't go back to the house. I'm gonna assume because of the relationship, right? And I don't want to put him on the street, but if she doesn't want him back, then obviously I want to follow the complaining witness's wishes. That's what I always want to do. I don't know if she wants you back. If she does, okay. If she doesn't, but be that as it may, self-control. Because I find that you are mistreating this person, threatening, abusive in any way. And I'm going to tell you now that conduct in and of itself can violate this court order. If I go like this, is that threatening or harassing? It most certainly is, and it'll land your ass in jail. You think it's funny.
No,
Just wait till you get behind and you'll see. I'm trying to tell you that exercise self-control because I will protect every person. And if I find that you become an issue to her, it's not going to go well for you. I will test you 40 days from today. If you test positive for dope, it's not going to go well for you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to keep kind of smirking.
I know.
State's concerned that he's not taking this seriously.
I get it. I get it. Well, he's on notice of what he can and can't do. And the problem is that there are a lot of people on a very fixed income. And I'm going to tell you now that the complaining witness in this case, she's on a fixed income. So you go to jail with a $5,000 to $10,000 bond. Just please admonish him accordingly. Okay. Oh, good morning, Mr. Jackson. So, Amy, we spoke about this last week.
Yes, Judge.
I denied him a bond last week.
Yes.
Has anything changed?
It's the last thing I know.
Tell me, I don't even remember. What is he wanted for?
He's wanted from Broomfield County, Colorado for failure to appear for burglary. It was issued in October of 2023. He's also here in Harris County for invading other vehicles. He also has other criminal history that we can go into, but it would need to be offline stream.
Okay, I remember that. Okay.
Judge, yes. First, criminal history. I don't know how much we should go into that. We are
Don't
here.
go into anything that's,
No, just,
We're going to-
it's not something I want to go into anyways. I don't think it's relevant to whether or not he's gonna turn himself into Colorado or not. I think if we focus on that, the argument is that he would like an opportunity to go turn himself into Colorado for this pending case. He hasn't been found guilty out there. He's presumed innocent. He would like the opportunity to go turn himself in. He hasn't messed up in your court before. He hasn't been given that opportunity before. And he is not asking for a PR bond. He's asking for a bond sufficient enough to guarantee that he will go turn himself in over there. He has family members here in court today showing their support for him. He's got 3 family members. After talking with them, they are inclined to help him make a bond as well. They understand the risks. He understands the risks if he doesn't turn himself in over there. He understands the complications of having to meet his court date deadlines. And so we are just asking for you to consider giving him a sufficient bond to go turn himself in.
who's here? Mom?
Judge, we have his sister, I mean, stand up, please. We have his sister-in-law, his girlfriend, and his cousin. Sister-in-law, and girlfriend.
Thank you for coming, God. Really, I appreciate you coming. You're welcome to come up if you want.
And these are the family members that would be responsible for helping him post the bond. They would be posting the bond for him, and they understand the risks involved.
Sure. Hi,
Hi.
thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. You know, and I told this to Mr. Jackson about a week and a half ago. There are several things that I look at when I give someone a bond. One of the things I look at is their prior criminal history, what they have done, how old they are, and whether they've left a wake of just destruction in their path. Mr. Jackson is very young. He's what, 20, 22? And in the short time that he's been alive, he's managed to rack up a ton of cases. Just here in Harris County, an evading that was dismissed in 2021, he picked up a felony theft in 24, an evading arrest in 24. He has a fugitive case out of another jurisdiction of another state. And now he picked up here 2 weeks ago, another evading arrest. So the common theme that we have here is I'm going to take off and I'm going to try to evade. That's the common theme that we have. And the two things that I don't want are, number one, I don't want him to pick up another case. And most importantly, I don't want my public to be in danger. These are the things that I consider. What does he want it for out of state?
Failure to appear for burglary.
And now he has another burglary in another state for failure to appear for that. At what point do we say when? So my point is that the problem is that if I give him a bond and he just takes off, all you guys are going to lose out on all that money. And what happens if he picks up another charge? So these are the things that I consider, and this is why I denied him a bond the first time. Is because what the common thing that we have here is that in the short time that he's been an adult, there's a ton of evading and flight cases. That's why I didn't want to give him a bond. Because in my opinion, he already has 3 flight cases. Do we need a 4th? That's what scares me. Card.
Judge, considering all that, considering his family's here, we would be asking for an amount that ensures his attendance in Colorado. I think by putting an amount on his case, it would ensure that he hasn't had this opportunity before. He hasn't had a risk of losing money before. This risk would ensure that he does what's right and turns himself in over there.
But he has, though. You know, he has. He got out in Colorado, failed to appear on that. He's constantly trying to evade, here as well. It's a constant thing. And I can't continue to say, okay, it's okay for you to do this. La, da, 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 da. It's not okay. The bill comes due. Do you understand? At 22, you have all these cases. Life is hard enough as a young black man in today's society as it is. And now with all this, really? You want a pat on the back for all this? You want me to just, no. Now the bill comes due.
Judge, if I may, respectfully, one of the things that I wanted to do was look into the Colorado system to see if it was actually a failure to appear or if this was a sort of like a to-be warrant here in Texas. I wasn't able to log into that system over there, and I don't think we can make the distinction on whether or not it was a to-be warrant based on the documents that have been filed, or if this is one of those situations where he missed a court date.
Regardless,
Okay.
all we have are someone constantly trying to evade capture. They're trying to evade police one way or the other. I have a feeling if I let him out, the same thing's going to happen, and I don't want that to happen. I don't want you to pick up a 4th case, 5th case. I certainly don't want anyone to be injured. And that's it. At 22, all this baggage, it's not going to happen, man. The bill comes due. I certainly appreciate you guys coming. I know that you've taken a lot out to be here today. It's just too much baggage. I'm sorry. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you for your cooperation.
Of course.